Well, back in the day, I used to go to a lot of hookah bars, and there's one place called Exhale. So I decided, to throw that band name out. And we went through a lot of band names to kind of land on it. And at the very end, we decided to land on Exhale.
The band is called Exhale, I believe, because Taylor went to a hookah bar in Roseville called Exhale.
Remember when hookah was cool? It's funny, we did this interview one time, and the interviewer asked us why Exhale was called Exhale. And we came up with this answer that was like, our music is like us breathing out onto the world, and like sharing what we wrote with an audience was like our version of Exhale. Really, it's just a hookah lounge.
Don't remember our first show. What was it?
I think the first show I remember was Club Retro, but the old location, because they moved. We played at one of the new location once, I think, or twice. Their original location was, I had just seen A Day to Remember there, and immediately we were like, we have to play at this location because it was fun. And the old Club Retro was really fun because it was in this like side building from the main building, and it was just a cool place. It was, the first energy drink I had was at Club Retro.
The first show I remember was actually a church. And I forgot the name of it, but yeah, I remember it was like this teen show, or not teen show, but like a place for bands that are teens, so they can go play and stuff.
This one's hard, and I've been thinking about it because there's a couple answers. When we played at Slim's in San Francisco, that was phenomenal, and we got a lot of people to come to that show, which was really cool. A lot of friends, a lot of family, especially being in the Bay Area. It was like people from all over California that we knew were able to make it to that San Francisco show at Slim's. But I think my favorite show is, we played at the Boardwalk one time, which is a tiny bar, and we sold like 300 tickets. When we came out on stage, the entire, like as far as you could see in this bar, was just full of people, and that was really cool.
The Boardwalk, when we opened for the Motels, that was really cool.
Slim's. That was my favorite Exhale show because it was Battle of the Bands, and there was a whole bunch of like amazing bands there, and it was over at San Francisco, and jaw-dropping how good the music scene was out there. And us being from Sacramento, we were like, well, we'll try and see how we do. Yeah, and then we actually ended up placing, I think, second or third, and that was just like an amazing feeling because we've been playing for like 6 months, 8 months, something like that, and it was just an amazing feeling.
After we recorded Unspoken and went swimming in Ori's swimming pool at like 3 a.m. and I remember we had like a fire back there, and then it started raining and it just smelled really good, and we were all like vibing and high from recording and just like super in love with each other. It was the best.
We were driving back home, and we all had different cars because like I had my drum set in a car, and some of us traveled with our family, and it was like midnight the first time Mark Gilmore from 98 Rock played Unspoken on the radio, and we were all calling each other from different cars and saying like, turn on 98 Rock, turn on 98 Rock. And it was one of those, if you've seen the movie That Thing You Do, where they're all like running to the store to like turn up the radio, and all the radios in the store to play their song. It was one of those moments where we're like window down on the highway, screaming at each other across cars, and it was just phenomenal.
I think Old Ironsides was my favorite venue because it was just so small and compact. And you had this little tiny stage, and you felt like you were super close to the fans, but also felt like you were a rock star just being up there.
I think my favorite venue was Chalk It Up because we were outside on stage. You're like loud to the whole city of Sacramento, and it's just like such an iconic institution that it was really stellar to perform at.
I think my favorite venue was the Boardwalk as well, because there was something, I love dive bars, and there was just something so like, it just felt like a rock show.
There were a lot of like church venues, like recreational rooms that we played gigs in, and they always felt strange. But there was also a really cool venue that we played in Benicia, I think, or Half Moon Bay. And there were all these surfboards hanging with bras. And that's how they were hung to the ceiling, which was really cool.
Yeah, this one's an interesting one. So the weirdest venue was actually, it used to be an old strip club that I just think they kind of threw it together. And yeah, it was just over on Auburn Boulevard. Yeah, that had to be the weirdest one, especially with the poles. That was a little like, ooh, okay. Especially with younger age musicians playing there. Oh, and also the one with the volleyball courts in it. That was probably the weirdest one too. Those are kind of like top two.
I had like the best blue, my sister called it a blueberry because it wasn't a blackberry, it was like a Sprint blue phone with a full keyboard, and it was my favorite phone. But I also had these really cute black cowgirl boots that I got at the thrift store, and I would always perform without my shoes on. So after the show, I like put my shoes back on, but I'm like slamming to get in there because my foot's not going through, and I had put my phone in my shoe for safekeeping and totally forgot and busted my phone.
Okay, so we played at, I always forget if it was Cesar Chavez Park or Fremont Park, downtown Sacramento. And I was loading my kit from the car to the stage, so I had to like walk it across the park essentially to where the stage was set up. And we had some other people with us who were helping us set up the stage. And this one guy dropped my snare drum off the stage and immediately just tore a huge hole through the snare head. And we were like, I was a teenager, I didn't think to bring backup snare heads essentially. So I think what I ended up doing was like, I taped the snare head, put it on the bottom, I moved the resonant head to the top, and then reattached the snares or the wires to the bottom with the tape and the snare head. I think it ended up working, I think it sounded fine, but I was so stressed out when that happened.
I would have to say Weather King is my favorite. We also like kind of joked about it being the dinosaur stomp. And that's probably my favorite song.
Unspoken.
I think my favorite band that we played with as Exhale was at the Boardwalk, and it was opening for the Motels. And it was funny, no disrespect to the Motels, but I came home, I was living at home at the time, and I told my parents, we're opening for this band called the Motels. They got excited. I had no idea who they were talking about. I've since learned to love the Motels, but that was really funny, and ended up being phenomenal, by the way. One of the nicest bands I've ever met. There's a lot of bands who are just like, won't even talk to people, especially the headliners, won't even talk to you before the show. And the Motels were just like kind and cool and grateful to us for being there to like, help them put on a great show.
My favorite bands to play with were all of my friends who were in bands back in the day who would come and play our house shows in the backyard.
There's a lot of really good bands. I can't remember the name of them, but it was this ska band that was playing at Slim's. I think they actually won first place. They just absolutely killed it. I think it was like a 9-piece band with horns and 2 singers, and it was just amazing to see them play. And even though it was a competition, it was so cool to just see so much talent. I would say Ori and Emma have to rock the most. They've been kicking butt. I've seen them at a young age, and seeing them grow as musicians today has inspired me to go over and beyond what they are doing, and they inspire me so much every single day on what they, music talent, personalities, how much drive they have. It's inspiring and drives me even more to want to pursue and accomplish my music goals.
Emma is the most engaging with the audience, but I will never forget we played at this place, the Lodi Teen Center, with Greg Allman's daughter, which was a whole other story. And Taylor threw his guitar on stage and like all but stepped on it, and it was so cool. There's a photo which I have to go find, I think, of Taylor with his guitar on the ground, and it's very Jimi Hendrix. It's super cool.
Big shout out to Tune Yards. Obsessed with them. And Patti Smith.
This is weird and a little counterintuitive. So, I think we've always like characterized ourselves as like kind of rock, hard rock, but also alternative rock. And I almost exclusively listen to like metalcore and like what my parents would call screamo music to this day. So there's a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, I loved them in high school, and I still listen to those bands now in 2025. But I like a lot of other stuff. I love singer-songwriter. I love folk music. I listen to a lot of stuff, but mostly metal.
So I have 4 kids, so a lot of it is Disney themed, but some of my favorite bands: Paramore, RX Bandits, that's a good one. Billy Talent, love Billy Talent. A lot of ska stuff. Death Cab for Cutie, music from all over.
My pre-show ritual is interesting because my energy just like gets higher and higher. The adrenaline starts like pumping, and it's almost like 10 minutes before the show, I'm at like the most hyped I could possibly be. And then 10 minutes before the show, I just like zen out for like 10 minutes. I think the reality of like, okay, I have to play a show sets in, and then once I'm in that like chilled out headspace, I go up and just slam the shit out of some drums.
Lots of caffeine, so much caffeine, because I'm 35 now and I get sleepy at 8 o'clock. So lots of caffeine.
When I'm at my parents' house, we listen to a lot of music, especially, I won't say the name of the device that you speak to like request songs, because I don't want to set off your device that you speak to. But we sit around and we just like request songs, and we'll play random stuff, and we'll show each other music, especially stuff the other person hasn't heard of, just like, what do you think about this? And I was with my dad, and we had this conversation about, wouldn't it be cool, actually I think he was the one who said, wouldn't it be cool to like tell the device you speak to, like, hey, play Exhale, play Unspoken from Exhale. And it got me thinking about, it wouldn't be that difficult for us to put our music on these streaming platforms. I reached out to Emma. She was 100% on board. She actually said, why don't we write another song? We ended up writing Playground, which you guys will hear very soon. And then through that process, we reached out to Taylor as well. All 3 of us got together and just decided, like, why aren't we still doing this? This is some of the most fun I've ever had, some of the most fun we've ever had. And here I am talking to you for our YouTube channel.
I think it's just a series of events. Ori and Emma were working on a project, and they reached out to me and was like, we would like you to have the chance to, throw some guitar parts on here. And I was like, absolutely. Because I've been with other bands and other music projects, and it seemed like there was always something missing. And when they reached out to me, it was like it like lifted me up. I was like, oh gosh, like, this is amazing. I get to talk to these guys again and, put my music out there with them and be a part of this group again. I think it's just amazing. And also, 15 years, a lot's happened with us between now and then. And, we all traveled, went to places, LA, New York, Boston. And I think that it all happens for a reason. And now we're all back in California and want to relive or to make Exhale even bigger than what it was before.